everyone, welcome to my channel. Hope you're doing well. Been gone for a minute, but I'm back now. So today I wanted to show you how I created my first crochet wig. Well, it's a half wig, or at least I wore it like a half wig. But anyway, so I'd like to show you how I created that. And first I started with the usual cornrows, and I did this just all the way back. It's very simple. I started with a weave cap, one of those normal weave caps that you put on your hair to keep it from getting too messy. And what I'm showing you now is just the crochet that I've already added to the edges. So I've added the crochet to the perimeter, and that is the said weave cap that I'm talking about. You can just get them from any beauty supply store. I got them from my hair shop. And also you need your crochet hook as per usual. So I actually lost the clip of the pack of hair that I used, but here it is anyway. It's a different brand, but it's the same name, and it's Bohemian Wave. And I used 4 colors. And so first I'm going to show you how I attach it. If you don't already know how to do crochet, so you just need to pierce the crochet hook through the net, or if it was your hair, you would put it under the cornrow. And so I'm just piercing it through the edge of the net itself. So I'm going to open the latch, put the crochet hook through, making sure the latch is still open, then hook the hair onto the end of the hook there, and then close the latch and pull the hair through, and that's all it is. So once you've pulled the hair through, sorry I went off camera there, so once you pull the hair through, you have two ends of the hair, and then the bit that was attached to the hook, you will just twist and pull the hair through, and then twist again, and that will create a knot there. So that is very simple. That is how you do a crochet knot, if you didn't already know. And obviously I'm not going to bore you by showing you every single piece of hair that I attached to the weaving cap, but that is how I created that edge there. And I actually used quite a few colors. I used a bit of gold, a bit of brown. My natural hair isn't black. My hair is kind of a well, it's a deep brown, but some of the, like the edges, depending on how the light hits it, it can look quite brown. So on camera it looks like it's close to black, but it's not. So the hair I used, I think the deepest shade I used was 1B, and my actual hair color is a 4. And then I also use a reddish brown and a golden brown. So you can see how the crochet net fits over my cornrow. And that bit there of the crochet net, that will get tucked in because obviously it's excess. So I had to change location. So in the process of creating the crochet, I managed to pierce the weaving cap, which isn't really it's not really a problem, because where the hole appeared is where I plan to cut it later on anyway. And as I said, I've actually knotted the top of the weaving cap, that's the excess, and I'm going to cut it later. But I'm just showing you how much space to leave between each crochet knot. So you don't want to fill up every single hole, otherwise it will look like a jokey type of afro wig. Because the hair itself is really curly, and you don't want to put the crochet too close together. So I think I left about a space of about 1 inch or so. And what I plan to do is, what you can see right now, is to fit the cap right where my parting is. And the way I weave did my cornrow, the cap should fit in between 2 cornrows, so my parting should be right bang in the middle. So right now this is what it looks like. I've added some gold to the front, and I've added a bit more hair around the perimeter of the hair itself. And it's obviously not level at this moment, but I will trim it at the end. So what I've done is just filled up the rest of the hair, and what you need to do when you reach the top part of the hair is actually to put the crochet close together, so it's full, so there are no holes. At the back you don't really need them to be close together, because it will be too full by the time you've put enough hair around the top. So in the back I spaced out by about 1 inch, and in the front I think I left the space of about 1 centimeter. So now I'm actually going to sew the weaving cap around the perimeter, all the way around the perimeter of my head. So I'm just going to sew it like you would a normal weave. So I'm just putting the the weaving thread right under the cap, and I'm sewing it onto my cornrow. Initially when I started this bit, I think I edited this bit out, as I tried to use the crochet itself to tie the net to my cornrows, if that makes sense. I was inspired by another YouTuber. I've forgotten her name. I will try to leave a link to her video down the, down in the description box. And what she did to create a crochet wig was to use the crochet itself to tie the crochet net to her hair, and she did this all around the perimeter. And I suppose that's one way to do it, but for me, because I actually ran out of hair, I used 4 packs and it still wasn't enough. I don't know what I did, and I thought I was probably only going to need 3. So for some reason I didn't have enough hair, so I had to basically even take out some hair from the back and use it to the front. So sometimes, if you don't space it out enough, you could end up not having enough hair and then having to step back, take some hair from the back, from the perimeter of your head, from the sides, and move it to the front where it's needed. So beware to make sure you leave enough spaces and you have enough hair, because it's better to have less hair that's not full, and then you can add, as long as you have hair where you need it, then it's fine. So there, I'm just showing you how I tie the knot. So all you do is sew it almost like you're gonna sew like a button onto a shirt. You need to pull the thread through and then put it through in a triangle shape, basically like you're trying to create a knot. All I tried to do here was to make sure that I left enough of a gap once I've created the knot. I left enough of a gap once I'm enough of a gap to cut the thread, so that I can find the thread much later on when I need to take this hair down. So that's really important when you're cutting the thread. If you do decide to sew it on with a needle and thread, make sure you leave a bit of thread hanging that you can tuck under the hair, so that way it's easier to find, and then that one piece of thread that you have, you can find it and cut it and loosen off the wig later on. So here I'm trying to basically sew around the perimeter in the shape of a U-part. If you've seen a U-part wig, it's where it creates a little bit of a space in the front of your parting where you can basically sew around. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make sure that the band is sewn to each side of the parting, and then later on I'm just going to cut it. Well, I say later, in a couple of seconds time I will cut that band that you can see. So as you can see, I'm just tying the knot. I'm hoping you can see how I tie the knot. So I'm just pulling the needle through the thread and then leaving a bit of a space. So here I decided to pull some hair out. I didn't show it on camera. I pulled some hair out from the back, and I'm just using that to cover the front, to cover the net, because up close you can see the weaving net. So what I wanted to do was just cover some of the weaving net, which is supposed to be invisible, by the way. You can see it against my hair. So all you do if you have that problem is to take some hair and put the crochet over the net, so that you're close enough to your parting so it looks like a regular crochet, like you've just crocheted straight onto your hair, so it doesn't look like a wig. So yeah, so that's all. So now all I'm doing is first cutting the band in the center, and what that will do is first of all release tension. So the minute you cut the band, if you feel like it's pulling on the edges where you've sewn down on the edges of the U part there, you need to sew it down a bit more, because over time what that will do is pull on the parting, and it will start pulling out hair or putting too much pressure on that area. So what you need to do is make sure that you've sewn on each side of the U part there. And then all I'm doing right now is to make sure that I'm just filling in any holes where I think it might be obvious, or where the netting is showing, and trying to make sure that the hair is close to my parting. So if I left it the way it was before, that parting will be way too wide and it won't look real, or it won't look as good as it can. So what I'm just trying to do is fill in the area near my parting there, and I'm just making sure that I'm hiding any netting, or and just trying to make sure that the part is close together, so it looks like all you can see is my parting, then hair. So right now I'm just trying to make sure that I'm sewing around the perimeter. So I've reached the back of my hair, and I'm just going to continue sewing with that one long piece of thread all the way around. And it's easier for me to have one long piece of thread, because when it comes to taking it down, once I cut it in the front or cut it in the in the center parting, all I'm going to do is just keep unraveling that one piece of thread. I don't have to keep looking for different knots. So for me that helps. If you don't want to do that, that's up to you, but it definitely makes it easier when it comes to taking it down. So here I'm just trying to show you how wide the parting is, or basically how real it looks, and it helps that my hair needs relaxing. I do normally relax my hair. I'll link the video down below on how I do that at home, but it actually helps that my roots were coming through, so that blends in with this curly textured hair that I've decided to use. So now the part I've been waiting for, which is to trim the hair, and I won't even lie, this process of trimming the hair actually takes me longer than the actual video itself. So what I mean by that is I trimmed it, you know, for the video, and I thought I was happy, but over the next couple of days what I ended up doing was trimming off a bit more, which is what I normally do anytime I put this hair in. So yeah, I feel like the minute you trim it, it's fine, and then you look at it the next day and it's like another piece of hair hanging out, or you think, oh actually let me trim off a bit more, which is what I normally do until I'm happy with the length, and then I leave it alone. But in this video it looks longer than it actually was by the time I was done with it, about a couple of days later. So this is the finished look. I think at the time that I recorded the video I was happy with the length, and most of the scraggly ends had already been cut off, but I then went on to kind of trim it just a little bit more, but more or less this is what it looked like for the first 2 days until I attacked it with the scissors again. But yeah, so this is the look I was going for, and I was happy with it. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, thumbs up, comment and share, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.